All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're going to tackle one of the boldest, most provocative statements you'll find anywhere in the Buddhist texts. It's known as the lion's roar. And honestly, it's a claim that's so confident, so absolute, it just makes you stop and think, what on earth did the Buddha know that made him so unbelievably certain? And here it is, here and only here. I mean, wow, that is not a gentle suggestion, right? It's a flat-out declaration. He's basically saying, look, this path I'm pointing to, it's the only one that actually works. All those other teachings, he says, are empty of anyone who is truly awakened. It is an absolutely incredible claim, and that's exactly where we're going to start our investigation. So that's really the big question for us, isn't it? Is this just some kind of ancient religious marketing, or was this confidence rooted in a very specific, almost technical insight? Well, to figure that out, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to do a kind of visual translation of one single, absolutely crucial Pali word, looking at it through three totally different lenses. To really get the lion's roar, you have to understand the diagnosis that makes it possible. And that diagnosis all comes down to one little word that I think is often totally misunderstood. So let's start digging. Okay, for our first look, we're going to put on the hat of a modern Pali translator. That means we're going straight to the dictionary definition, getting a clean, scholarly translation without any other interpretations getting in the way. This is going to be our baseline. The word in question is upadana, and right away you see the standard translation, clinging or attachment. It suggests this idea of being mentally stuck to things, holding on to experiences we like or ideas we think are true. It seems pretty straightforward, doesn't it? And yeah, it is straightforward. But here's the thing. Does the word clinging really have the power to explain that lion's roar? Does it feel like the core problem that every other spiritual path was supposedly missing? I don't know. Maybe there's something more going on here. So for our second look, let's switch hats. We're going from modern translator to, let's say, a linguistic archaeologist. We're not asking what the word means in a dictionary now. We're asking, what did this word feel like to someone 2,500 years ago? What was the speaker's original gut-level intention? And boom, here is the difference. It's huge. The ancient root of upadana isn't just about passively holding on. It literally means to take up near, and it was the exact same word used for, get this, throwing wood on a fire. All of a sudden, the meaning shifts from a passive state of attachment to a dynamic, urgent action, grasping for fuel. This is so important. The idea isn't that we're just passively stuck to things. It's that we are actively reaching out, grabbing stuff, experiences, opinions, sensations, and throwing it all onto the fire of our own mind to keep it going. It's a verb. It's an action. We're the ones feeding the flames. Okay, final step. We've seen the gap between attachment and fueling. Now let's put on our final hat, the visual storyteller. To make this really land, we have to see exactly what this fuel is. We need to make this abstract idea totally concrete. And lucky for us, the original text gives us a very precise list. And here they are, the four main kinds of fuel we're always grabbing for. First, the obvious one, sensory pleasure. That next great cup of coffee, that song we love. Second, and this is a big one, we grasp for our views and opinions, that feeling of being right. Third, we grasp for rules and rituals, thinking that if we just do the right things, we'll be safe. And the last one, maybe the biggest log on the fire, we grasp for the very idea of a fixed, solid me. This is the really brilliant part. The Buddha didn't just say, hey, stop grasping for fuel. He traced the problem back to its source. I mean, if we're always reaching out and grabbing the stuff, what is it that makes us do it in the first place? Just look at this chain of cause and effect. See where our word grasping is? It's way down at the bottom. It gets triggered by craving, which is triggered by feeling, which comes from contact. And if you follow that chain all the way back up to the top, you find the real source, ignorance, just a basic misunderstanding of how things actually are. So grasping isn't the problem, it's a symptom. And that brings us full circle. The Buddha's lion's roar wasn't just him boasting that his teaching was better. It was the confidence of a master physician who believed he had the only complete diagnosis. He was saying other teachers might talk about one or two of these fuels, but only his path identifies all four and traces them all the way back to their single root cause. So when you translate upadana, not as a static word, attachment, but as this dynamic process of fueling, the whole picture changes. It's not about what you're supposed to believe anymore. It's about what you can actually see for yourself. So the core insight is really this. True freedom isn't some reward you get for having the right beliefs. It's just the natural result of seeing this whole mechanism clearly. When you can actually see your mind in the act of grasping for fuel, moment by moment, you can just stop. And, when you stop throwing wood on a fire, it just goes out on its own. And this is the result, right from the text. When there's no more grasping, no more fueling, you're free. The whole struggle ends, not because you've gained something new, but because you've finally stopped doing something that was causing the problem. The work, as they say, is done. And that really leaves us with a very direct, very personal question. If this 2,500-year-old diagnosis is right, then this isn't just some ancient philosophy, it's happening in us, right now. So the question isn't abstract at all, it's immediate. What fuel are you reaching for in this very moment? An opinion, a nice feeling, the idea of who you think you are? That, right there, is the real investigation.